What's up, growers and chili heads? We are finally at the last episode of the Grow Build. This is the Blumat system. So these little Blumat carrots, and there's plenty of videos on YouTube, so you know, check it out. Some of the other channels out there. I found these from Huchos. He's a guy in, I believe, Australia. And when I was searching for an automated watering system, I stumbled across his video. If you're seeing this, thanks man, great content. But essentially, the way that these work, this tip here is a porous material. And you fill this up with water, and this carrot goes into your soil like that. As your soil dries out, the soil will actually pull the water out of this carrot. As the water comes out of this carrot, there's a little ball valve that's in here, and as the water level drops, this ball drops, and it allows water to pass through this 3mm tubing, I believe, and this 3mm tubing is going to water your plant. As your plant uptakes the water from this drip, the soil gets saturated, and then as it gets saturated, this sucks in the water, and then the valve closes. So there's no more fighting the watering. And if you can get perfect water and perfect nutrients, you're gonna have a perfect plant, 9 times out of 10, right? The other thing that I really like about this system is, if you can get this, I'm not sure if you can, but you see these little triangles on the brown? This little dial right here, there's little triangle cutouts. So you can spin these little triangles, okay? And each triangle is a certain amount of water flow rate and a certain amount of saturation that you want your plant to be. So what does that mean? Long story short, I can put one of these carrots in each one of my grow bags, and since I grow a lot of different types of peppers, they don't all want the same water. So if you're running a timer and a drip system, you kind of have to shoot for the middle. With this, I don't have to shoot for the middle. I can get spot on exactly to what each individual plant wants, which is fantastic. So we're gonna be setting that up. The other thing is, what do we got here? So this is the Blumat soaker mat that they do. So it's a leak-proof kind of design here with this plastic, essentially. And then this is a soaker mat, and then there's actually soaker hose right here. But the coolest thing about this is we have this with this 8mm tubing, and this carrot has a flat bottom, essentially, if you can envision that. And that sits on this mat in one spot. So as the plants are sucking up from this mat and the water level drops, you can again adjust the saturation level of this mat and again, fully automate your watering. So over here, this trash can here on the left, I feed this can from my RO system. So I run through my RO system, this trash can fills up. As this trash can fills up to a predetermined level, I have a little float switch on here, if you can see that. And then down in the bottom, I doubt you can see, it's kind of dark, but down at the bottom I have it's just a little sump pump that feeds this garden hose. And I have my garden hose here on the wall, and I water my plants. Every other watering, I do the same exact thing, but then I do my fertilizer, which consists of Fox Farm. So if you've ran or are running Fox Farm, you can imagine how much it costs running this for when you're doing 50, 60 plants. So this has been very expensive. I still have the tags on here just from my local store. You know, they're about 30 bucks a pop. And you have your grow big for, you know, when you're in your veg stage, and then your tiger bloom for when you're trying to get the peppers out. This I don't use very much at all. It's a little bit too much nitrogen. And then you still need your calcium. So then you got to run your cow bag. And, you know, 20 bucks there. And then along with, you know, your pH up and pH down. Do the whole get down, takes a lot of time. So now we're going to use the Blumat system. We're going to still have the water feed in the trash can, but then that trash can is going to feed our 55-gallon drum right here. I'll fill this up, and then we switch over to Jack's 321, which is this fertilizer down here. This is a 55-gallon bag. So you mix in your part A at, I believe it's 321, right? So 3 grams per gallon, and then 2 grams per gallon of the Epsom salt, and then 1 gram for the calcium nitrate, which is high in your nitrogen. So this is going to drop my costs. This is probably enough to fertilize my plants for the next 2 years or longer. If I do the math on it, it's probably. And since we're doing this as a full fertigation system, we're not going to be alternating either. So it'll just be straight fertilizer. I'm not going to alternate between fertilizer and water. I'm not going to be running standard soil anymore. And we're pretty much going full hydroponic and jumping over to just a straight Coco mix. I would be worried about this being too saturated for the pepper plants, but since I'm able to dial it in so exact with the Blumat carrots, I don't think I'm going to waste my time mixing it with perlite or anything like that anyways, which the guys over at Sustainable Village who sell the Blumat system, they say that, you know, the perlite actually kind of messes with the carrots working as accurate anyways. So that's the system. Now we got to run the tubing all over the place. I'm going to set up the time lapse so you guys can kind of see the process on how we're running it. We'll probably set the 2 mats. I won't be able to fully plumb those in until I get the other 2 Blumat carrots for the mats. And yeah, fun stuff. So let's get to it.
So before I jumped into setting up the Blumats, I had to plumb in the water supply system. Here I'm just fitting in all the pipes, having a way to get the fresh water and the nutrient tank over to the well pump. And I got this well pump from Harbor Freight, somewhere between $200 and $300. And at the time I'm editing this, I've actually been using it now for, geez, probably a couple months now, and it works solid. The one mistake I did make when I was putting it together is I didn't put a check valve on the pipe that goes into it. So I had some issues with that. So if you're putting it in, you know, just pipe from your reservoir tank over in 1 inch, and then make sure you have a check valve. And here I'm pre-soaking the Blumat carrots. You got to pre-soak them for 24 hours. So I'm popping off the caps and sticking them in the water. You don't want any air in the carrots, so it can work as accurately as possible.
right, guys, so for the most part, we got everything all plumbed up. Just a quick little overview here. So this is our main water in, which is this trash can here. And we're getting our RO water pumped to that, which the level is controlled by our little float here. And then what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be gradually, I'm gonna be pumping water in 5-gallon buckets to verify exactly all the different levels in this tank for mixing my solution. It's a 55-gallon drum, but we're gonna see about that. So I'm adding 10 gallons at a time, and then I'm just making a little graduated stick. So that's the 10-gallon mark. So that way I can quickly drop this stick in and see where my water is for when I'm making my nutrients. Each tank has its own little valve to isolate it. So got my little isolation valve. If for some reason I have an issue with this tank, threw a couple unions in here for easier maintenance. If for some reason I need to do a flush on the plants, I can kill the nutrient reservoir, and then I can kick this open, pH balance my normal water, and then that can feed our shallow well pump. So this well pump, it's got a pressure cutout switch. I think it cuts in at 30 PSI and kicks off at 50 PSI. And it's able to maintain that pressure and not run constantly because of this bladder tank. So it gets the lines up to the correct pressure, and then this bladder tank helps it maintain for a few minutes. And that's really all that we need. Here's our inlet, here's our outlet. 1/2-inch pipe comes across. A little bit of a trip hazard here. I'm gonna get one of those rolling mats eventually, so we don't have to worry about tripping on it. For now, we'll just have to be careful. And that comes up. Got a little union right here in case I have an issue with this, which is our 15 PSI pressure reducer. I did forget to get a couple of pressure gauges. I'll have to add those in later, but at least we got this for now. Now, this pressure reducer then runs to our 8mm tubing. I believe this is what this is. This 8mm tubing, I have 1, 2, 3 lines on each table. Each line has its own valve to where I can isolate it, and I can run 3 rows of plants in here. And at the end of the lines, I have another valve just for bleeding the air out of the lines before I stab in the Blumats. You want to get all of the air out so you don't have to worry about it. And then one line on every table has a valve on it as well that jumps to the next row. So that jumps over, 8mm tubing, there's the middle row, and then 8mm tubing down the side. I ran that all the way over here. Same concept. We got a cutoff valve on that one and the far one that you can't really see. And then this one right here jumps across. And then if I'm not running anything on this table, same thing, I got a valve right there to where I could isolate it. And then this is the last table, at least for now, that runs all the way down. The Blumats, you guys saw that in the video. You have to pre-soak these for 24 hours. And then after you pre-soak them, then you need to put the caps on. And they recommend putting the caps on underneath the water and then letting them soak even more. So we're gonna be pulling these out soaked and then plugging them right into the system after all of the air is bled out. Other than that, the last thing I wanted to show you guys, if you get this well pump, as far as I'm concerned, this is the most affordable way to go with this. But a couple of key steps on here. So for shipping, these are oil-filled gauges. You're just going to want to clip the the top of this so that can breathe. Once that's clipped, you're good there. And then on the back of your bladder tank, you have to set the pressure there. So you see I got a little pump, and you need to pump this up to 23 PSI. And then after that's set, then I can open up the valves and let the water flow. While we're letting this fill up, we're gonna go through and top dress all of our pots here with Coco. And then going forward, we're not gonna be dealing with any more soil. We're gonna be just straight Coco. That's what manufacturer says works best with the Blumat system. So that's what we're gonna be going to. So we'll get at least a few inches of Coco in each one of those. We got the mega brick that you guys probably saw. It was relatively affordable, I guess, from Amazon. Definitely way cheaper than doing Coco Loco from Fox Farms, which is what I was using. And it should be 100% sterile, but just in case, we're not taking any chances. We just went ahead and made this with boiling water. It's not hot anymore, but it's nice, airy, loose, should work great. Other than that, if you guys have any comments, questions, make sure you throw them down in the comment section. And with that, let's get to it.
So here I am setting up the nutrients. I filled up my reservoir. I think I did like 50 gallons when I was doing this. And then the last 10 gallons, I figured I'd mix the nutrients in the 5-gallon bucket. So when I poured it in, it would mix up the part A and the Epsom salt, pour it in, mix it, and then throw in the part B. I made it out to be a little more complicated than it needed to be. So Jack's Nutrients, they let you know that if it's not mixed properly, it could get cloudy and then you got to dump the whole reservoir. So I didn't want to do that. So I kind of long stepped it. And after doing it the first time, it's actually really simple. So figure out how many gallons you got. There's 3 parts. You got the Epsom salt, the part A, the part B. Measure it here on the scale. Pour it in your water, and then you just got to make sure the part A and the Epsom salt, you mix it into your water first. Stir it in really good. Just stir it for a couple of minutes, and then throw the part B in and stir it in. And it's way cheaper. So. And it works really well. So I haven't had any deficiencies. Like I said, as I'm editing this and doing these voiceovers on this video, I've been rocking and rolling for about 2 months, and all of the plants are doing awesome. So I guess what I did is I mixed up in the first 5-gallon the part A and the Epsom salt, and then here I'm doing the second 5-gallon, I think, for the part B. And then I think this is where I have the issue, where I actually go to kick it on, I find out, whoops, I need a check valve. So as you pipe into that shallow well pump, and it kicks on to get up to pressure. Once it gets up to pressure and the pump kicks off, all that pressure just surges back into the tank and it loses pressure. So the pump just kept short cycling. So as far as, a little tidbit, just make sure you got a check valve when you're piping yours. And you can never have too many isolation valves and unions, so you can get back in there and do little repairs. Another thing I added was on the outlet of the submersible pump. I put a little Y strainer there. For the most part, the nutrient water is clean enough and doesn't have an issue, but to protect the carrots from clogging, which I haven't had any issue with, but just in case I put that little Y strainer there, just to kind of keep them solid. And here I'm putting all the cocoa in each one of the bags, getting at least a couple of inches in there. The perlite in my soil, they were telling me that perlite could make the carrot think that the plants weren't as saturated as they actually were. So to go ahead and put the cocoa for the first couple of inches, and it's worked great. And I have already transplanted some plants, straight from seedlings into pots with straight cocoa from that cocoa brick from Amazon, and it has worked fantastic. So, there's speculation that the brick cocoa could suck out the calcium out of the plant, this, that, and the other. And so far with this fertigation system, I haven't had any issues. And I've already gone through 2 bricks. So here I'm with my son, and we're setting up the carrots in the pots. As you guys know, peppers don't like to get completely drenched, so I went through and I watered all of the plants after I put the cocoa, but I didn't sit there and soak the heck out of them. So I got my little sprayer there, and I just kind of wet the hole, saturated the hole where the carrot was going to go, so it could make good contact, and that worked fine. So if you guys want to try it that way, you can. Saturated the hole, stuff the carrot in, push it tight so it's got good contact. They sell these Blumats in little kits where you get like 10 or 12 little carrots and some of the 8mm tubing, and they come with the small gray tubing that you see me cutting. The problem is the tubing that they give you is only good for like a 4-inch pot. It's too short, so you want to just get a roll of that small 3mm tubing when you're setting yours up, because it can kink on you if it doesn't have enough slack to kind of loop over. And then you want it to have some slack anyway so you can move your pots around.
Alright guys, so me and little Dave got these all plugged in here. 1 Blumat, 2 Blumat. That one needs to be repotted, so I didn't put that in. There's another one. That's right. So the boy did that one. And then here we go. Dave did this one. Got it all connected up. So here's the next critical part. So all of these need to be off. If I didn't say that over my little voiceover that I do later, these need to be off. They need to be put into moist soil and they need to be packed in tight. Now, what we need to do is make sure that we get all of the air out of this system. So I got a valve right here. This has pressure in it, so now I'm going to open this valve like that, and then I'm going to come down to the end, my little bleeder valve, and I'm going to get the air out. Let that run for a second. There we go. That's good. Back off. And then what you do is you're gonna loosen this up to where it's all the way open. And we're gonna make sure we got no air in it. So I got it all the way open. And then here's all the way open. Definitely don't want any. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna turn it down till it isn't running, and then you're going to back off 2 carats from the flange, which is of course on the back side. So unfortunately I'm going to have to move my pots. Alright, let me set you guys here. So you line up with these. So that's your marker. So all the way on. Careful. So you get a hanging drip. Dripping. I think we got it. There's a hanging drip right there. And then we backed off 2 carats. So 1, 2. And, oh, actually, no, you tighten up 2 carats. There's that. Right there, I think we got it. 1, 2. That should be solid. Make sure that's in there nice and tight.
Make sure the water is coming out, you know?
Alright guys, that concludes this episode. We're going to be doing more follow-ups, product reviews, and different setups in general. There's a lot I still want to do, but for now, that's the grow space. From sealing everything up, taking care of ventilation, lighting, and the water system with our new fertilization technique. I did hand water with the new fertilizer about 24 hours ago, and we didn't kill anything, so I'm pretty hopeful with the new Blumat system we should be good to go. If anything, drop any questions, comments down in the comment section, like, subscribe, and we're a fresh new channel, so be sure to share. Later.